Well, hello, streaming world. HFR from the floor, Robert Heffernan, Mistrade Matt Davio, Market Vitals, the levels you need to triage the market. Right now, man, the market seems like, it's a crystal meth addict, right?
Oh, it's definitely one flew over the cuckoo's nest right now.
It's like when the old days,
and not only did they not take their meds, they don't even have any meds.
He is up off the pavement and fighting like a hornet. I mean, we were trying to pronounce it dead. I was trying to pronounce it dead for sure.
I definitely was not. I was not in agreement. I still think we're going to see new highs by the end of the year, but I thought we'd go a little lower first and then have a Christmas dangle. But maybe we're already 4,600 on target already. I don't know.
Matt, the world is upside down, and I love this that you shared. Cats composer Andrew Lloyd Webber bought a dog because the film Cats was so fucking awful.
Because cats
That's
suck.
what you do. That's what you do.
That's what you
do. I guess the original screenplay flopped, and he was so distraught about it, he went out and got a dog.
Well,
anyway,
he probably.
Man, I love movies. I'm a giant movie fan.
He probably got paid $100 million, so he's all right. I don't.
I'm a giant movie fan. Whoa. And so I wanted to share the upside down world that we in. One of my favorite movies, So I Married Axe Murder. Pregnant man gives birth. That's a fact.
Was it Little Nas?
Pregnant man gives birth. That's a fact.
Was it Little Nas in that movie?
No, Mike Myers and.
I'm just saying now he's pregnant and having babies and doing Satan worshiping at the same time.
Men can give birth.
If you're a Luciferian, maybe you can.
Okay, I think we stick away. Whoa, yo.
How about them Dodgers? Let's talk Dodgers. How about that?
Let's go Dodgers first. You know what? That game looked to me like it was going to be 7 extra innings. I honestly, God, I punted on it at the end of the eighth.
Why? It had already been 7 innings of tied, so it was already there in the bottom of the 9th. And my boy JT got him tied 1-1. Great pitching, by the way, both sides. Even a 3-1 loss is unbelievable. But I did give 1.5 in the Dodgers, which wasn't looking good until that home run.
The line was 1.5, and it was a 2-run walk-off.
It was a 2-run walk-off.
Oh, is that awesome? Matt, let's talk betting here because I know your sports book doesn't accept these kind of bets.
Well, first of all, my sports book doesn't have that kind of. My sports book doesn't have that kind of, juice.
Come on, man, what is going on here? Anyway, several big NFL bets this week at Caesar Sports. 500 large Eagles getting 3.5 at the Panthers. 500 large on the Vikings, laying 7.5 home against the Lions. Matt, I think that's the number one bet on the board for you, right? The Lions on the money line.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because I think you were here Monday night when I was talking to Steve, and we were going to put some money on Los Angeles, and talking to the common man, Steve, if you're watching, no offense, but the common man when it comes to gambling, he's like, why are the Chargers favored when they're 2-1 and the Raiders are 3-0? I'm like, have you seen the Raiders play?
Right, exactly. The Raiders could be 0-3.
And have you seen Justin Herbert play? That's all you got to know. And obviously talk about uneducated.
All right, so walk me through the thought on the Lions beating the Vikings.
It's kind of like my play last week with Michigan as an underdog. When they are underdogs, they typically win. It's so rare. And at least it was up until the last decade. So that kind of, like I said, has shifted. But this is a little bit different team. Maybe we'll see if we can get by Nebraska this week. And we're only 3-point favorites, which makes me nervous as heck. I wouldn't touch that game, by the way, either side. I'm just going to be rooting for Michigan. But on this, I can't believe somebody put $500,000 on.
Especially in the NFL, where
especially I mean, that guy, he's a, first of all, he's a Spartan. That's strike one. Second of all, he sucks. Strike two. And the Lions haven't won. I don't know. The game must be in Minnesota. It must be.
Yeah, but the Lions have gone defeated before, though, Matt.
They have
an entire season.
Like, what was it, 3 or 4 years ago? I think 2017 they were 0-16. So,
well, they were for sure. They did it back.
Listen, I've got a bet with my youngest son. I took the under on the Lions, and the over under in the games won in the season was 5. So I'm looking good with my son. He was like, "No way!" I'm like, "New coach." He was all excited. This is my 18-year-old son, and I just had to impart some wisdom. I'm like, "Son, if it looks too good of a deal, it is."
And, all right, Matt. In other news.
So I would take the line. I would definitely take the Lions in the money line in that game. And matter of fact, let's look that up. What do you think that is?
I bet you're there getting 3.5 to 1. The
money line, though.
Yeah, I know. You bet 100, you win 350. That's my guess.
Let me see what it is. I got to take a quick look because that's an interesting one that normally I probably wouldn't consider playing, but. I do.
As we speak, the Spoo's off a little bit, 44-12,
very
11 3/4. 12.
Money line is plus 16, Bob.
What?
16. Excuse me, 316.
Oh, so what did I say? I said 350.
Yeah,
the fucking kid is on fire.
You're right there. You know.
All right, Matt. In other news, our level-headed news publication Vice sharing. And the winner of Rome's local elections, and she got like 8,000 votes, is Rochelle Mussolini. You got it right, baby. The granddaughter of our favorite fascist. Anyway, the far right.
It's kind of like Trudeau and his dad. I mean, apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I mean, again, your environment where you grew up from, is, as we've discussed on the show many times, is very important.
Well, listen to me. And my thought when I saw that,
they're either like each other or very opposite. It's one or the other.
Anyway, you don't. My point is, you don't get far right and you don't get far left if the fucking middle did their job, right? And we got another.
But the middle's gone. The middle has no power anymore. It's been gone.
The middle is gone. Let's kick the can down there. Let's play kick the can again. The debt ceiling raised by $480 billion. Let's push off substantive negotiations till December 3rd. I don't know. Did they throw it between that and then Glenn Greenwald? No. I'm early on that one. I wanted to share Glenn Greenwald's article, or he pointed out the article in the Atlantic. And you know what? I'm just gonna have to share because I don't have the let me just share the article.
Please do.
Because it's awesome. And the Atlantic, let's face it, the Atlantic is a little bit left-leaning, yes?
Very.
Very left-leaning. And the title was, "The Experts Somehow Overlooked Authoritarians on the Left." Like the left is authoritative? No, they're all benevolent, the left. They're not authoritative, they're benevolent. They're correct in their thought processes, and therefore they get to be authoritarians. But they've never been called authoritarians before. And this was published last month in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. And they said they pondered how could past researchers have overlooked left-wing authoritarianism for so long? For like 70 years, they hadn't figured it out. Anyway, the gist of the article is if you are already a member of a left-leaning far left-leaning organization, of course you're not going to see authoritarianism in your own viewpoints. I don't know. I mean, we see it today.
Well, you see it. I mean, you see it in the left, pro-vaxxers who are they want you to die. They want you to die. Like they're screaming at you and getting all worked up that you're.
Well, man, it goes further than that. You don't get a kidney transplant because you haven't been vaxxed. I mean, it plays out. It's unbelievable.
Boulder has gone full left retardation. Yep.
And then we had the Facebook whistleblower that, in 3 days, she had 59,000 followers on Twitter, has a PR firm, goes on 60 Minutes in an incredibly staged looking whistleblowing. Usually whistleblowers are nervous. She looked pretty prepared.
I'm trying to find it, but I can't find a picture. I have, there was a great meme I saw. It wasn't a meme. It was a meme, but it was just two pictures. It was Karen or whatever her name was, Leslie, and Matt Gates, and they look exactly like their brother and sister. That's all you got to know.
Man gives birth. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to talk price discovery. The stock market just, shaking off anything that might be considered bad news, and it continues as far as I'm concerned. Oil rebounding nicely.
Yeah, let's start with Facebook since you brought it up. 384 down to the bottom of this profile here at 320, which is 60 points, which is not quite 20%, but close enough to bear market territory. And we rallied this morning. We gapped up, and as did most stocks, because everything ran up overnight in the futures land. So when this happens, when you have everything gap up and then crap, so we're basically, all these high vol NASDAQ names gapped up today, and they're all lower than they were when they opened. So that's kind of what we're seeing. It's still, looks like it may be off the bottom for a while. Hell, this thing could run to 360 if it's in concert with the rest of the market. You did bring up oil. It was interesting last night. Crude traded up to 79 yesterday, and we talked about this. It was trading right around 79.50, I think it got up to. And then it sold off last night from the peak of 79, what was it, 79.50 or so here up, Bob. And that was yesterday. This morning at 1:30 Pacific, so just after the European Open, we bottomed at 75. And look at that, $3 rally since, which tells me all this saber rattling. There's more than just saber rattling when you see this type of move off of a 1:30 a.m. low, which again, it really didn't mean anything. It was just a nice round number, 75. I guess we'll buy there. Because there's nothing here I see in the chart that really points to, oh, I see why they bought. Except, it was falling out of bed, and I guess it'll just stop there. Much like the SPOOs did, by the way. They just, let's take a look at that, because I don't care what you say, and it doesn't matter. We're in a rigged market. We're in an algo market where these things happen. And I mean, the move that we've seen off of the 2:30 in the morning low yesterday, which again, just random, 2:30, we're going to start buying it. But there was a machine that came in there. And, basically, if you would have got long somewhere in here around 42, 80, 90, somewhere in there. Since then, it's been nothing but a trend day. So the 15-minute chart is beautiful. And we've talked about this level. 44.40 is the 61.8 of the overall high of the year to the low. That's going to be my bear bull go, no go. If we close over that tomorrow, we're going to 4,600. On a Friday, we close over that, we're going to go up another 160 points, because this is we've already gone 42. The low is around 42.62. We're already up 160 here. So that's why I say that if we get to 44.40 and we close over that on the jobs number tomorrow, if it's, we know it's going to be good already because of the rig meaning, now that the jobless benefits are gone, people have to go back to work. So there's going to be a bump. We've seen it in the preliminary jobs numbers. So there's no reason. I mean, it would be an awful shock, like if they missed jobs tomorrow with the precursor numbers making it. I just don't see it happening. So,
and so the crude higher and the bonds are the other one that we want to talk about.
Yeah, and then the bonds today are making
a serious disconnect.
Well, and this is the thing. This is what I keep saying. Either the bonds are wrong or stocks are wrong or equities are wrong. Bonds today, you can't really see it, but let me just bring up like a 1 minute, a 1 week chart, and you can see it. We were rallying yesterday, which made sense. These were the bonds. And then we sold off a little bit overnight and then went back and tested them right around the European high again. We tested the highs in the bonds and then rolled back over, and we've just been going down. We got down here again, not a new low, but that 158 keeps holding. But this is not bullish. This is not bullish for equities when the bonds are going lower, I continue to say. So you either put your faith in the fake equity market and the fake news, or you can put your faith in the bonds and place your bets there. But again, if we close over 44.40 tomorrow, we're going to 4,600. We're going to see new highs here, Bob.
All right, Matt. One last thing back. I forgot to share it because we talked about this. It just gets no play in the mainstream narrative. And this is One Man, One Crown sharing or asking at Scoon TV, all official White House business is being conducted. And we talked about this. That's supposedly the rose, the garden in full spring bloom. Mm-hmm. It's October. Mm-hmm. And I thought I had a nice comeback here. Like what's going on here? I think maybe the Oval Office is being painted, right?
Well, there was last night at 1 a.m. Eastern, there was ambulances coming in and black vans and SUVs coming and going from the White House. All the lights got flipped on at 1 a.m. So
that's his medication time.
Well, there was trucks coming in, trucks leaving.
Or is Barack Obama working from home?
Barack Obama's working from a basement also in Nantucket.
No, he's not, dude. He's in the White House. He has residence in the White House. That's my conspiracy theory for the day.
That's your thought of the day.
Thought of the day.
Well, just keep buying. All
right. Well, we got a jobs report tomorrow. Everybody's waiting on that. I don't know what else to talk about.
We got the Rams.
Sure there's disconnect.
I'm
short a little bit here and wrong.
Rams in Seattle tonight.
Rams in Seattle, the West Coast. Let's face it. It's the creme de la creme of the NFC. I don't give a shit what Tom Brady does. The NFC. I think the Super Bowl goes through maybe it's going to be a West Super Bowl, right? San Diego, Seattle.
Possible. Let's talk about this a little bit. Shatner going up into the blue pill.
Let me ask you a question. How great does he look as a 90-year-old?
He looks great. He's still, he must have had a weaved in head of hair because there's no way that's real.
He's not. If he's had work done, he's had the best outcome of work done.
But he apparently next week he's going to space.
Yes, he's climbing on the blue cock and getting projectiled into space.
Apparently he was on with Anderson Cooper. I'm glad I missed that one. But anyways, yeah, he's being rocketed, shot into. His load will be alleviated, et cetera, et cetera. We can keep going on and on with.
On and on and on. All right, please join us at marketvitals.io and share and retweet the podcast, the live stream far and wide. Please feel free to drop us any questions or symbols that you want.
Let's talk about something. Some days like today and yesterday too. Yesterday, there was really nothing you can do when you're in a trend day. It's the hardest days to trade.
If you can't get on the trend, you're right. It's extremely hard because you're waiting for a pullback. Never comes.
There won't be any pullbacks. And so you either have to plug your nose and buy early yesterday into the dark despair of the market, and then add every time it touches, which it barely does touch, some type of moving average. And then you're just sitting here 3.5% higher today going, God, why didn't I just get longer? Even if you got on, you were very small. That's the point. So this is not an easy, I bring this up just to say it's not an easy market to trade. And that means you should probably be smaller and wiser and more nimble and be careful out there. It's a tough market.
You know what? I thought we were going to talk about Netflix because we had a little back and forth about the nuance of a trade and getting into a trade and it not working. And that nuance of, sometimes you're like, this isn't working, I'm out. And then there's sometimes where you're like, this isn't working, but I still believe in the trade. And I just saw somebody tweeting about it. Maybe it was Pac saying, listen, if I don't get a reaction like fairly quickly, I'm just out of the trade. I do not sit in trades that aren't working for me. And I think, we've talked about doing that sometimes. And sometimes like this trade that you're in, you're giving it more time to breathe. And talk to me about the nuance of that.
Yeah. So here's what I did let's see, today is Thursday, the 7th. On Tuesday, I sold right here around 7:30. So after the first hour of the market, after a huge gap up on and making a new high, a new all-time high, I think. I don't think have we been higher? I got to just check this before I say this. No. So yeah, we make it a new all-time high, Bob. And let me come back to that chart. And that was right in here when I sold it. So I'm pointing out on the chart here, 7:30, 8 o'clock when it was trading around 6:30. I sold the 6:35 calls that expire Friday, and I got about $4 out of them. By the end of the day, they were 10, 11, 12. And the next morning they gapped down, and I sold them yesterday. It's what's interesting is they were not as high because of the time,
Exactly.
The gamma left. We have 1 day left. So I've ended up trading this thing around. Like today I sold 10s, 11s, and I covered them at 5. So my average now has gone from, 5, 6, 7, whatever, $7, $8, to almost double that. And the initial trade is out of the money. But if you trade small enough, you can get back in if you know how to play. Like to me, I was a little early here, or rather it continued on higher, made another pre-market high here, but it's failed. So those 635s are back in the money right now. I mean, not quite, not the originals aren't, but they're probably going to either close it at 650, I figured, which is my ultimate risk. Like I'm really wrong if it goes there, but I'm short at 642, so I'm only risking $8. And so if we closed it, I would basically say if we were over 650, I'd be wrong and have to get out. But I've just kind of stayed in it, traded it around a little bit, and that's sometimes what you have to do. You got to be small enough to be able to do that. So I always leave bullets in the chamber. I really rarely have a maximum position. It's so rare. And if I do, then I'm stopping very quickly. So there's 2 schools of thought. You can leg into a position and be wrong right away, or you can give yourself some leverage and some loosening of the range. And that's what I had in my head was 650.
Right. And so again, the nuance in there too is
because $10 on a $642 trade is not even 1.5%. It's very small.
Exactly.
So you just have to, look at the risk and establish it. And we'll see tomorrow we could be at 650. But like I said, I've improved my position by trading it around over the last couple of days. So my average is now more like 647, 48. So my risk is really minimal unless it gaps up again another $30 tomorrow, which is possible with options.
Which makes it incredibly difficult in a one-way trend market.
It does. It does.
That you have in the equities. I mean, in the indices.
The other name that was interesting today is Myrna. Found that bottom down there at 292 and bounced again today. But again, it's just not looking good. And the more news that comes out on the negativity. I saw today that the founder of mRNA technology, that Dr. Malone?
Yeah.
He actually tweeted out that he's blocked from reading the New England Journal magazine.
Yeah, I saw that. His IP address is blocked. Talk about authoritarianism.
Talk about leftist authoritarianism. Right, exactly. It's crazy.
I mean, all right. All my votes are for Mussolini's in Italy, and
the right side of the parabola.
Exactly. I am short SPUs and not liking that they cannot break them today, and everybody's going to sit on their hands. We talked about that. The fear is everybody just sits on their hands until the jobs number, and I don't want to hold it into the number if it's not a winner already. So that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, you have a great day.
You got 3 hours left. I could see this thing trade to 4,400 here today still too, but it's either going to be a new high or 4,400. It's not going to stay right here. It's got to move. It's got to shake the trees a little bit. And here's the other thing you have to look at in markets, Bob. Who is in the most risk right now? We've been trading since 7 o'clock at these same prices and have not been able to go over the 730 high, which is the IB. The 730 high was, and I said this in the market vitals this morning. I said, if we don't, I'm going to say it right here, 425 is going to be the high of the day because 21.5 was the high. We might have gone back and tested it once, but we still haven't. We're not breaking down, but we're down 9 points from that high. So, everybody's basically most of the day, the majority, like if you look at a profile, the majority of the traders that are day traders are trapped.
Right on.
In other words, if you look at a profile here, it's going to be very top heavy, which is not a bullish pattern when it comes to market profile. And matter of fact, here, let me show you, because I described it and it's just as I described. When you get this type of topping, right? Because we've spent basically now 3 hours. We've spent 3 hours. This either has to break up or down. Up would be bullish, but it's going to have to get over that high of the morning, with power and momentum. We're in the lunch hour, which is never an easy time. And by the way, the volume all day has been declining to almost nil here in the lunch hour. So we'll see what happens when the machines get turned back on at 11 o'clock, 11:30. That's usually when they turn them back on. If the Fed's got their algo going, it could keep going. But this thing is still trending very clearly here, right? Nothing has changed. But you see that topping, that P pattern. We had one here too. We had one on Tuesday, Bob. These P patterns, like this is a D or this is a B. This is bullish. That worked out. Bearish. That worked out. Once you get over this, this yesterday we had this congestion zone, which it played very violently before it broke out. When it breaks out, you go with it. And so the trades are pretty easy to see.
Yeah, and
here.
if you miss them, then you play the fucking chase game.
Well, you got to play the chase game. And most of this, by the way, look again, because we closed right here yesterday. We closed like right around 50, not even, they jammed it into the close. But then it went from 50 to, here's the open. So you had 60 points again overnight. I mean, on what? Stops, just levels of stops being taken out. And you see it right here. Stop. Nothing. There's no offers. Nobody's selling in size. There's no reason to. So if you went home short, you're down 50 before the day came in. I mean, that's brutal. I
just saw this, another beautiful example. Richard Welling sharing under the Great Reset agenda. It's one rule for global elite and another for ordinary people. The thousands of dignitaries attending the climate change summit in Glasgow have been exempted from using vaccine passports to enter the event. Thank you for authoritarianism, but we're going to decide who we're authoritative against. I love it. What a world. All right, Matt, you have a great day. Thank you so much for sharing.
The other thing, you got the bonds. I just want to talk real quick on the Russell, because we're always talking about the barometer of the Russell. And the Russell was lagging yesterday, but today it's catching up. So that's the way this market works. I mean, it's up significantly from yesterday because that was 2180 and it's up here at 2260 right now. But again, you can see that like it's just look at the trend on the real short. Like it's just going up. It's not going anywhere, but it's just it's either going to spike to another high or it's going to roll over. There's a trade here if you take it, but for me, I wouldn't be buyer probably until about 62, and I'd probably be a seller, somewhere below 52.
Right on. All right, Matt. Thank you.
Other than that, you're just chopping broccoli. Look at it. It's like the unlimited spool. You can't tell me this isn't an algo. It is what it is. There's very little trading opportunity today, unless you're a scalper, which I'm not. So, again, it's interesting how the day they gapped them down right into the open, and then they turned on the machine right at 6:30, and I went, wow. Did you notice that this morning?
Yeah, I did. Oh, I noticed it.
Yeah,
I noticed it.
Yeah.
All right.
That's why day trading is a sucker's game. It's hard.
It's like betting pro football. Man.
It's like betting pro football. It's
Lions
hard.
in 7.5.
It's hard. I'm
all right, pal.
Betting pro football.
I'll see you.
All right.